It is the first Sunday of New Year of 2024 if you're watching on TFC. So it still is Happy New Year to all of you. Second Monday of 2024 naman po kung kayo po ay nanonood ng KNET 25.1. And of course, happy Saturday if you're watching on ANC. Kayo po ay nanonood ng Jannelle TV. This is your go-to for stories of Filipino representation and immigration. Ako naman po ang inyong host na si Jannelle. So, hi! Kamusta po sa inyong lahat? Kamusta naman po ang para dun sa mga gumawa ng New Year's resolution? How are you doing with your New Year's resolution so far? This Sunday on the show, we are celebrating immigration and representation like we always do on the show, but we have a very special program for you today. Last year, sa pagtatapos po ng 2023, tayo po ay pinalad na maimbitahan sa Filipino American History Celebration sa White House in Washington, D.C. At doon po sa pagtitipon na iyon ay nakasama po natin ng ilan sa mga bigatin po na ating mga kababayan Filipino Americans in Washington, D.C. Of course, those working in government as well. At nakausap po natin sila eksklusibo na naibahagi po ang kanilang mga inspiring stories with us. Of course, starting with the highest ranking Filipina in the Biden administration. This is actually her second time being the highest ranking Filipina in an administration, because she was also the highest ranking Filipina in the administration of President Barack Obama. I'm talking about Secretary Nani Coloretti, and here's her story.
Magandang hapon po at mabuhay, and welcome to the White House. This afternoon, I am really grateful for the opportunity to come here just for a moment and reflect on the rich history, pursuits, and accomplishments and the legacy of our community. I was asked to talk about what does it mean to be a Phil-Am working here at the White House, and I think the best way to do this is to tell you just a little bit about myself.
Highest appointed Filipino American official in the Biden administration.
Yes.
But this is for the second time.
Yes.
Yes. Hello, and thank you for welcoming us to the White House.
Yes.
What does this event mean for you as a Filipino and growing up Filipino in America?
Yeah, so when I was born, there were 400,000 Filipino Americans in this country, and now there are over 4.4 million. So that is an incredibly fast growth, but it also this event shows how Filipino Americans' history has contributed to the fabric, to the tapestry of our country in many, many different ways. And so to be able to celebrate this, to acknowledge it, and to tell stories about how Filipino Americans contribute to this country is an incredibly special thing. To be able to do it at the White House, for me, is even more incredible, and just is a testament to our growing numbers, our growing strength.
Right. Many years ago, when I started giving speeches as an immigrant to the U.S., I moved here in my 20s. I kept talking about how, forget about why you moved here, but this is your life now. And what you need to do is think about how you're going to contribute, right? But it's not easy to go where you're going if you can't look to your past.
Yeah.
And you have such an amazing story as well. Can you give us a little bit of
Sure.
background on that?
Yeah, so my grandparents came to this country in 1927. My grandfather was a minister, and he was coming to work with Filipinos who were working in the sugarcane fields, but he later became a union organizer to organize the Filipinos who were working in Hawaii. At the time was a territory. And so he was doing that work while my grandmother was a nurse, a Filipina nurse, and they had 6 children. My mom was the youngest, and she also went into nursing, but later decided to become a child care provider. So caregiving and public service is sort of woven into my family story. And growing up in Hawaii, there were a lot of Filipinos there. There are a lot of Filipinos there today, and it was just a really great for me to be able to see people contributing in important ways to our community, but also to America.
We have done so much as a community, as Filipinos, but mostly in the background. It's now that we are coming out, taking and claiming our spotlight, in front of the camera, and taking up space, taking positions. Can you speak to us about that?
I think it's always very brave to come and take your space and be in the spotlight. I think especially as women and as Asian women, we are often not encouraged to do that. I was lucky to have a lot of strong women in my family, my grandmother, my mother, and you know, when you're growing up, if people continue to tell you like you can do anything and you can take as much space as you want, then you can and you do. And so having a strong history of women working in the Philippines and here as Phil-Ams is actually very important for the Filipino American community to have more people come forward and take their space and claim their space.
More so now, more than ever, right?
Yeah. Celebrating Filipino American History Month is a great moment to pause and appreciate the many ways that we are contributing to the rich tapestry of this country. And so I'm just honored that I get to speak alongside leaders in the Phil-Am community, heroes in the labor movement, in military, in sports, in arts, and entertainment. You all represent the very best of what being Filipino American means to me. And for that I say to you, salamat po. Thank you.
Of course, I'm going to ask you about your favorite Filipino food.
You are? Okay, excellent.
Your top three.
I'm a simple girl.
Yes.
I'm a simple girl.
What is it?
I love a good chicken adobo.
Yes, okay.
I really like pancit. I keep trying to make the pancit that I remember, and I'm not that great at it, but I'm doing my best.
What's your, there's a secret ingredient to the pancit usually.
What is the secret ingredient? Well, okay, but I also feel like vinegar sometimes plays a role in Filipino cooking in ways that are really smart and like with adobo, you know, sauce.
Yes.
But I also really like anything with ube in it.
Okay, cool.
My family's instilled in me the importance of hard work, but also listening to others and empathy. And they also valued creativity, singing, dancing, and bringing joy to your work. So these values helped me in all the jobs I've ever had, including the one I have now, because I'm able to easily cultivate an appreciation for hearing diverse viewpoints, helping others, and solving problems. And I always find a way to incorporate joy into my work, which can be helpful when things get really hard.
We do have this reason to celebrate, but we also have this thing called hate that we're rallying against. And I asked this, my program is one of the grantees of the California Library for their campaign against hate. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
That's really great. I think the thing that I know counteracts hate, the only thing is love. And so when I hear about Filipino Americans on the front lines, nurses on the front lines in the COVID era, caring for others at risk of their own health, I know that comes from love. And that's what I was taught. I was taught to bring love to everything, bring joy to everything that you do. And so I think that we should not give up on that. And I'm glad that there are efforts to counter hate, particularly racist hate, you know, that comes because of the way you look or the country that you come from. And Filipino Americans are very good at, I've once heard that they've been called chameleons. They can do anything. And so you can really be an ambassador when you can do anything to counteract hate by bringing your true self to work and bringing your true self to whatever table you're sitting at. And remembering that love combats hate.
With that said, what else can the community, the Filipino community, the Filipinos, Filipino Americans expect from the Biden administration? How you're already being inclusive, but I know there's so many other plans.
Yeah, so we're continuing our effort to turn around and improve the economy, particularly for lower income and working people, really the bulk of American people. So we are continuing our focus on all of our policies that are actually showing progress So we've created there's been 14 million jobs created on our watch since President Biden and Vice President Harris got here. And we've had the lowest unemployment rate for the longest number of months going. It's below 4% right now. That's pretty historic. And so we need to kind of continue our focus on that, because we really need to kind of catch up from some of the things that we lost during the COVID era. And in some of the inflation that we experienced over time, we need to really keep our focus on making sure that people are working and that their wages are increasing. And I think that will improve many, many lives. And that's really our focus, is to really improve opportunity for everyone in America, so we can really realize the country that everyone believes in, and we can help do that.
Yes. And so for the Filipinos who came here to achieve the American dream, and you're one of those, you came from a family that did achieve their dreams, what would be an advice? Maybe an advice that's been passed on to you from generations before you, or just your advice speaking from your experience. How do you achieve your American dream?
It's really interesting that I've been thinking a lot about this, because the advice that was given to me was to just work harder. And I think that is good advice, to work hard. But I also think it's important to remember your why you're doing things, and to look at the whole system that you're working in and think about ways that you can contribute to improving the system, and not just yourself by working harder. Because if we just individually work harder and we don't look up and see the whole thing, that can be very frustrating, and also doesn't improve change of the system we're in. So I would keep an eye on your goals, but also aim to make the world a better place and bring your best self to work every day.